Hey, it's me, it's David at the Vigology channel. In a little bit of, no, I'd say ranty, but just my review of Dexter New Blood. I'm just recently reacting to things and I'm not actually uploading any of these, I just watched it anyway. But as somebody that watched the original Dexter a decade or so ago, and also found the ending of that show pretty unsatisfying, um, I also thought Dexter was like a really bad girlfriend because you always go back to her expecting great things and then it lets you down at the end. Um, the original show was great. It was good. I was addicted to it. I watched it all the time, though it was very frustrating. My favourite season, I think, was it four with John Lithgow as Trinity Killer. I thought all that was great, but the ending was disappointing. Um, I don't know why. I don't know why. Well, hang on. Maybe I do. A writer friend of mine always talks about, how, especially in American TV, that they don't like to write endings. And compared to sort of the UK TV, like you take something like The Office that had like two seasons, compared to the American Office that went on forever. I think a lot of American TV don't really like ending. They like to keep it open just in case it can come back. And I kind of get that. But in the original run of Dexter, it was a little jarring just to see him, turn up as a lumberjack with a mildly ginger beard, and getting away with the scot free. Especially after a show that lasted for so long, had so many different seasons, and it felt like a damp squib, an ending, really. And lots of people, not on my own, lots and lots of people were very disappointed in that ending. Now, it was a shock to hear when the new Dexter, you can see down there, New Blood was going to be released. I remember actually finding out about it and really sort of confused and alarmed, but excited that we were going to get to see what happened to Dexter Morgan after, he washed up on the beach after his lumberjacking life. And I have to say, I preferred the beginning of these. I preferred this than the original series. I thought it was a great premise of a serial killer leading the quiet life, almost like an addict. He's actually sort of his addiction is under control. He's leading a quiet life. He's got a nom de plume. Nobody knows who he is, and he's enmeshed in this community. The law enforcement is his nemesis, if you like, his deadly enemy, is now his girlfriend. And I thought that's a great backdrop. And there's a lot of things I really liked about that series. I liked that it wasn't just about just rampantly killing people like the other series. You think about it, there's very few deaths by Dexter, really, in comparison to previous series. And I like that. I like that Dexter now is a bit older, and you can see that there is certain wisdom that's come with the kind of years, and actually to his particular situation, which may have actually sort of helped quell that that killer fire within him. I liked all that. I liked Deborah, coming in as the ghost. I thought that was sort of good, or is this not really his ghost, but he's sort of his Jiminy Cricket, is sort of conscious. I thought all of that was fantastic, and I think we were heading to something that actually could be sort of quite interesting. Now, I liked the idea of Harrison turning up. Yeah, I liked that as well. I thought that was actually okay. It kind of worked. And I even actually liked the actor they chose to play Harrison. He did look kind of like, possible school shooter. He had that look about him, that kind of sort of wide, wet-eyed, you know, troubled teen. If you, it's the kind of kid, if you sort of looked at him at school, you went, yeah, I won't get on the wrong side of him one day because he's going to murder his family. And I quite like that. And I think with the backdrop as well, with the other serial killers or with Clancy Brown was great. Now, after all of that, I think we were jogging along quite well for them to fall at the final hurdle. So we got to the final, the last two episodes, and I felt that Dexter completely turned into a dummy. This is a man that who's eluded capture for years and years and years because he relies on his instincts, his education, his strength, his knowledge, all these things that you saw. He was an accomplished fighter. Not only was he a blood spatter expert, so he knew about forensics, but also knew about the body. He knew everything. He was actually a very sort of intelligent sort of person. And then you just saw him not pick up not pick up that his cop girlfriend suddenly went really cold on him. I mean, okay, you could probably say, well, she found out that that he was Dexter Morgan, he wasn't the person he was. Okay. But she started to kind of forgive him until she started doing all the police work. And by the way, could I also say, she's the best police person in the world. Miami Metro couldn't do what she did on her own with no resources. And did all of this on her own, whereas they had all this stuff, and they were the world's dumbest cops, really were. It was right under their noses. But not only the weirdly sort of feasibility of that, a lot of things were very annoying. Having Batista back in it and not having them face each other, don't see the point of that. There was no point bringing it back. There was absolutely no point bringing it back. They needed to meet, and they didn't. Also, I think the misstep, or I think there's a little bit of, I think what they did with Harrison was a bit of a con, really. There's a bit of a bait and switch, a bit of a grift. Because they led you to believe all the way through that Harrison had a dark passenger and it was equally as messed up as Dexter. But of course, I mean, Dexter thought that anyway. And it kind of turns out that he was wrong. That he wasn't. He was just pissed off. Oh, okay. Right. So he isn't psychotic. So what was all that stuff with the cutthroat razor and breaking that kid's arm? Was that just normal teenage hijinks? Yeah. So I kind of felt that they kind of did a really weird misdirection. And the thing is, they had scope and space to make this spectacular. They could have really redeemed themselves. They started so well. And, and really what this is about is really talking about the ending. What? It was terrible. None of it made sense. None of it did. I know what they were trying to go for, but it was stupid. It was stupid. It was a bit like they ran out of steam. It was a bit like they just kind of went, I gotta finish this now. What are we gonna do? So could shoot him. Yeah, I'll go for that. No, it was nonsense. So this kid who never killed anybody before was quite happy to shoot his dad. That doesn't work. I've seen Dexter get out, even the Sims get out of prison and get out of situations like that with a lot more sort of intelligence, finesse. He kills Logan. He kills the cop, and I guess that they're trying to say that's the Campbell that he killed an innocent, and and he's been responsible for innocent deaths before. He did before, but it was just lazy. It was like we don't really know how to end it. Or we don't really know what to do with the character. Will he get caught? Will he kill him? It was a bit like somebody sat down and thought, this is a really good idea if his son kills him. Problem is, we didn't bond. I liked Harrison. We didn't bond that much with him as a character because, he comes in and he's a bit whiny and a bit bonkers. But really, did you warm to him? Did you have the same affection that you had for somebody like Deborah? No, because I think you would need a few seasons to actually sort of. I think that would have worked if they'd had about 3 seasons, say, and that was the end, and that's actually how it kind of ended. After possibly Harrison and Dexter actually sort of bonding properly, because if you think about it, they only really just bonded over the episode before, pretty much, when they actually sees him, murder Clancy Brown. So a lot of it just didn't make sense. It didn't work. And I hear that originally, and I agree. I think the actual writers of Dexter, the original writer of Dexter, that's something that I thought. For me, what they should have done, if it was me and I was writing it, at the end, what I would have done is that I would have probably left in him killing Logan, but I would have had Dexter and Harrison go on the run. I'd have had like a couple more episodes and then go on the run. And what I would do then, I would actually have Dexter having to kind of learn in those episodes through the eyes of Harrison that Harrison isn't like him, and Dexter isn't that innocent. That actually Dexter enjoys what he does. He actually has pleasure with it. He's only, he's not the good guy. He isn't Batman. He's just focusing an illness somewhere else. But really, he wants to survive and he wants to live. And he's quite willing to kill an innocent to do that. And Deborah was saying it all the way through. How many people have died that's been around you? But he keeps going. And I think they should have investigated that in a few more sort of episodes. So what they could have done is got them to LA, get them to kind of settle, say a few months later, whatever, and you could see sort of the relationship fraying or changing between them. And then probably you would end it with Dexter actually getting caught. But imagine him getting caught was a sacrifice for Harrison's life, It's like I will go to the electric chair for Harrison. I think that's what I'd like to have seen. I'd like to have seen something where, he has to Harrison's either going to, hanging off a bridge, say, and he can either be caught by the cops or save his son. He could get away again by leaving his son dangling, or he could save him and be caught by the cops. And finally, face justice. Because I think that's the thing about Dexter, is that he's not a good guy. He's not. And I think, in a weird way, when you had Harrison shooting him in the TV series, in the series how it was, he's kind of got away with it. Because it's a bit like committing suicide, isn't it? It's like when those people that have done all these horrible crimes, and then they commit suicide, and nobody ever gets any justice. Of course, well, they're dead, so you don't know where bodies are. So in a way, he kind of did that. He did that thing where he got somebody else to commit suicide. It's those people that that run into the cops with guns to be shot because they want to commit suicide. In a way, that's what it was. I would have liked to have seen him caught, and you'd see him face up with Batista while he's actually on death row or something, and they put him in the chair or lethal injection, whatever, and he's laying on a gurney, like so many people lay on a gurney for him, and he's seeing all the people, all the innocents that his murdering and his lifestyle impacted upon, like Deborah, and they did a little face thing, and they did a little face review. That you'd have seen that, or maybe even like specters or spirits standing around his gurney while he's taking his last breath. That's what I would have liked to have seen. Away from it was atrocious. I thought the ending was lazy. I thought it was boring. And you know what? Somebody got paid for that. Somebody got paid for that. And I don't blame the actors. You blame the writers. You blame whoever comes. There's a lot of pressure. I used to work in TV. So there's a lot of pressure to come up with ideas that everybody likes. Not only the people that work in production, but also the people that work at the networks, the people that are selling advertising. So, I do have an insight to that, and I know it's not absolutely easy, but it's a shame because it's such a great character, such a great show, and I think this show, New Blood, was breathing life back into an old franchise, if you like, TV show, breathing life back into it. We could have had a few more series of it, which I think we should have done. And I think ultimately what I think people would have liked is like to have seen, maybe Harrison exhibiting those traits that Dexter had with the Dark Passenger. And that's something that sort of forms probably after Dexter's dead. But now he knows the code, he can go and he can be the Dexter of 2022 and onwards. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say. It's about the finale of Dexter. Always make sure to have a look at these videos. There's two there at the end. Take a look at those, and I'll see you next time.